Okay, g'day again. Alright, as you can see we're back on the ST again, and yeah, been looking at all these pieces hanging up around the shed, stepping under them and banging my head on them, and yeah, and when you got so many pieces it sort of becomes a bit daunting, and you basically have to. Actually, I did a night course on painting some years back, and just a short course. Just thinking of something the teacher said, He said, when you got a big job to do, especially a clean-up job or something that requires a lot of effort, don't look at the whole job because it becomes too much and you get overwhelmed by it. And that's sort of what's been happening, this last week. Like, I've been waiting for this stuff to harden a bit, and especially stuff that I've already touched up. And like, it's really easy to procrastinate. It's really easy to put off something that you don't really want to do, And I was thinking about what my teacher said, so, get one piece down, do one piece, and then move on to the next piece. And, same if you're doing a car, you do one panel at a time, or half a panel even, or, one bit of damage, one dent, and sort of try and get the rest of the car out of your mind, just focus on that one bit, and then you'll get over it. And once you get a few bits done, it then sort of becomes rewarding and encouraging to keep going. Anyway, the other thing was, as I finished each piece, I didn't want to hang it back up again and, add to the daunting task. And there's also, a risk of falling down or bumping into it with something, and because I'm doing other jobs or spraying it with metal shavings, or there's a risk of damaging it. And I figured the safest place for it to be was on the bike itself. So, that's what I've been doing. I started with that, the tail section with the tail light. And, I sort of put it on and then realised that the tail light actually bolts into the tail section. So, I had to take it off and fit the tail light and that sort of thing, fit the brackets, got the box on, fixed the box up. A couple of days ago I had to touch that up, as in a previous video, and that's now dry enough, so I don't know if I'll get to attack that tonight or probably a tomorrow job anyway. But this was all area I had to touch up all the way along here, or no, just the two ends on this side. It was fully along on the other side. But it's managed to blend in quite well. And, of course, I'll go over this again yet. Just a hand buff. It's only had a once over with a buff, and I'm not using I've got a big buff with the lamb's wool, proper variable speed buffer, but it's just too big to use on pieces like this, and especially when things are just loose on the table, you basically got to do it. You got to hold the thing with one hand and do it with the other. So, this is what I've been using. It's just a foam pad, fits on the drill. Of course, it's a 2-speed drill, so I'll put it down to low speed, and that, stops it from, it stops you from burning it or damaging if it, I said, trying to do it one-handed. And, the other thing is, that's just sitting there because that's dirty, so, before I go to use that, I'd put it on the drill and put it in the bucket of water, because it's better when it's wet anyway. It dries it out. It'll just absorb all the compound if it's dry. So you wet it first, you spin it at high speed in the bucket, take it out, spin it again, get the bulk of the water off and any dirt that might be sitting on it. And yeah, begin it. So anyway, as I said, I've started putting the pieces back on. This was interesting. This originally had metal. It's got like pins, rubber pins that go through the cover. I had those metal clips on it, and of course they broke trying to get it off, and some of them had just sort of busted the pin off as well, the rubber pin on the inside. So yeah, I've just stuck that on with epoxy. I just epoxied around all the holes, pushed it on, put some more on the back, and yeah, it's stuck there. It's good. So anyway, as I said, yeah, it's coming up pretty reasonable. The other thing too is I found, like I was using this compound, and I have an issue with compound. It especially on a car, like if you flings off and it gets in every little crevice, and it's near impossible to get out. You end up, you're at risk of scratching your paint job trying to get any off any excess compound. So yeah, if you are using compound, you gotta try to not fling it anywhere you don't want it, and keep washing it off. Don't let it dry on there, because it's near impossible to get off. And so what I started using instead was this. This is, oh, you can't even see it. This is like an extra cut. It's actually called scratch remover. It's a yeah, can't actually tell what brand it is now. So I've had to tape it up and squeezing it, and because it's a few years old and the plastic cracks, so I had to tape it up. But yeah, that's just an extra cut polish, and I found that's bringing it up much quicker than what the compound is. So yeah, so that's what I've been using. Over here you can see a dull spot there. That was actually a rub through. I started to see the colour appearing underneath the clear, so I stopped there. Fortunately, I haven't actually rubbed the colour off, so that's good. What I'll do is I'll sand it now with probably about a 1200. I'll just go around an area, and then I'll mask around that area because I don't want to overspray over where I've already buffed. But yeah, just spray the clear in around there, and like stop short of hitting any of the tape. You don't want it lime, you have to rub out either. But yeah, that's no real drama. As I said, fortunately I noticed before I actually rubbed any of the blue off, so yeah, that's an easy fix up. That was like a pit hole. A pit hole is another, still an impurity in it where the clear didn't actually stick to it, and that formed a hole. And then trying to rub the hole out, yeah, as I said, I got right back to the blue. But yeah, hopefully it'll stick to it this time. Hopefully I've actually rubbed the impurity out. But anyway, yeah. But yeah, the main purpose of this video, I wanted to show. This is another mistake that I've made. Yeah. This bit here, I rubbed right through it and actually rubbed the colour off it. I said the initial mistake was I hadn't actually rubbed the primer back properly, and there was a run in the primer that I didn't notice, even though I'd guide coated it, and gone over it. Yeah, there was a sort of, like only a very slight run. But when I tried to rub it out of the clear, I rubbed right through, through the clear, through the blue, right back, and the primer started showing. So I've had to touch up that whole area again with the blue, and it would have been fine. So I still got to rub that back a whole lot more. You can see, so there's still, like, these are dust, those little dots. there were bits of dust. So here, they'll come out, no problem. But, and up there you can see scratches. That was from more dust that I'd tried to move. That was even before I even touched it up. But I've got an issue in here now. And this has actually happened in two places on this, and the other place where I touched it up. I didn't have an issue, as I said, I touched up that tailpiece. Didn't have an issue. But, so I rubbed all this before I touched it up. And I rubbed right up and just, sort of over this edge down, and I only sort of brought the clear up to this edge here. And yeah, should have all been good, but what's happened is, see, I should have masked all of this area. You see in here, that's clear overspray on an area that hasn't been rubbed back. So yeah, that's all. I could probably scratch it off my fingernail if I tried, because it's not sticking to it because it wasn't rubbed. But yeah, so I've got to try and rub all that off now, and hopefully not rub through the clear. So there should be plenty good. I did put a lot of clear on it, but yeah, it comes right down here. So yeah, as I said, because I was painting here, I rubbed it back to about here, and that's fine. But then I've got all this overspray over the area that I didn't rub. So I've now got a whole lot of work because I didn't mask it. I didn't cover it up. And I've got, as I said, overspray where it hasn't been rubbed. And I've got the same issue up here. Turn it around the light. See, I've rubbed, this has all been touched up, blended, and I've rubbed it up to about here somewhere, but then gone too far with me clear. So, I've got this line, and you see, it is actually rubbing out. Just here, I've managed to rub it out, but here I've had to go to a 1200 now to try and rub that out, so I'm going to have to keep going, and hopefully I'll be able to get that out. I don't sort of generally like going down to that, coarser grade of paper, when I'm doing, clean up for polish on finished paint, because it really leaves a lot of scratches in it. And like you see videos, professional painters, and they'll go, 12, 15, 2,000, 3,000, but I sort of don't see the point of, like you use a coarser grade to bring it down quickly, but then you got to go over it with a 15, then you got to go over it with a 2,000, then you got to go with 3,000. And the time it takes you to do all that, you could have just rubbed it out with a 2,000 and not left any scratches. Or, very fine scratches that you can actually take out with a buff anyway. But as I said, I'll go 2,000 and then I'll go over the whole thing again with the 3,000. And yeah, and it just buffs up real quick then. But yeah, as I said, I was rubbing that with the 2,000, it was just taking forever. So yeah, I've come down to the 1,200 now, and yeah, having to rub that off. And I said, all that could have been avoided. Oh, in this case, it's not so much the overspray, it's that I didn't rub it back far enough, like I rubbed it back to here, only tending to only bring the clear to here. But yeah, I must have brought the blue to here and then decided, well, I need to go further with the clear. But yeah, obviously I hadn't prepared it enough to go that far with the clear. So anyway, you get to show something else too. When you're rubbing it, so I'm using this as a bit of felt. Yeah, I've got the 1200. Now, you got to sort of, you start rubbing, and this is, I won't be able to sort of do this too much because I need a hand to hold it. As you see, it's just sliding across the table. But see, while it's wet, you can't really see whether you've rubbed it enough. See, so you got to rub it a little bit. You don't want to rub through it. You want to stop, just as soon as you've rubbed it far enough to get rid of whatever you're trying to get rid of. And then, wipe it dry. So I'm using paper towel. But make sure it's clean. Make sure if you're using a rag, make sure it's clean. But the paper towel works good actually. Dries it off real quick. I'm having the issue of holding the camera in one hand and doing it one-handed. But dry it off. Even wiping's going to be a drama. One-handed. Wipe it off and dry it. And once it's dry, you can see where you're up to. Shows, especially like if you're not doing this now, but you're just doing the whole thing with the 2000. See, I've been right over that, and I can't really tell. See, until you dry it. See, once you dry it, you can see. Okay, I haven't rubbed it sort of enough there. Needs a bit more up there. Still a little bit sort of lumpy. Orangey peel. Down here, still a bit of that's a very slight run. Needs a bit more. But as I said, so you do a bit, like, so if you haven't got any damage to do up, you're just trying to get rid of a bit of orange peel. Give it sort of a general once over. Stop. Dry it off. Look at it, and then you'll be able to tell how much more you need to do. See? And the next time I go over it, see? Like there's a spot there's a spot there, so I'll just a little bit here, a little bit there, dry it off. And then, like this is already good. So I don't want to rub that area anymore. And by drying it off, you can see where you're up to and where you need to go, where you need to do some more. Anyway, just thought I'd show you that. And I've done a few paint jobs, I don't know. I don't know how many. I've probably done a dozen paint jobs in my time, and still making mistakes, And hopefully by showing you people mistakes, it might prevent you making the same mistakes. Anyway, thanks for watching, and hit a like, please. Bye.